Right. So, hello everyone. I'm Shubham Dharmsktu. I'm from Uttarakhand, and my village is called Milam. It's in like one of the most extreme village in Uttarakhand. And since last 10 years, I have been traveling around India, and I've been working on different kinds of social projects as a designer. Because I graduated from National Institute of Design in 2015, and since then I have been working on different social causes around India by using my design thinking and also the experiences I have gathered from traveling different parts of India, from the Himalayas to cities to the faraway villages and many different towns. So in 2015, one of my journey which changed my life forever was to cycle the entire length of Himalayas. In this journey, I started my cycling expedition from the village on the most eastern part of India is called Vakro in Arunachal Pradesh. From there, I started cycling from Arunachal to Assam, then Meghalaya, West Bengal, Bhutan, Sikkim, Nepal, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Ladakh, and then Kashmir. So this journey took me around 105 days, and it was around 6,000 kilometers of cycling all by myself. And the same journey, I was carrying around 40 kgs of luggage. And the motive behind this journey was to explore the Himalayas I am from, and to see what problem Himalayan people are facing. While this journey, I also was stuck in Nepal because in the same, if you guys all remember, 2015 was in Nepal earthquake. And the same time I was in Nepal. So during that, I decided to help the local communities which were affected by the earthquake. So in 2015 Nepal earthquake, while I was cycling, I decided to stay for 1 month, and we designed tin shed houses for villages which were the epicenter of the earthquake, such as Milamchi and nearby villages of Kathmandu. So in this, I helped to design and create around 200 houses made of tin and iron rods. And these houses are also used as an alarming system because all the people who are staying in this tin houses, these tin used to make sound for the next earthquake. So that was my project in 2015. And after that, I started sustainable tourism company during my college. So that was my third year in college in 2015. I started my first company, first venture as a sustainable tourism company because after traveling the Himalayas and also living there since I was child, I've noticed that a lot of people are shifting from the mountains to the city in the look for a job. And the tourism in the Himalayas is there, but has more negative impact than positive impact on the communities and environment. And in 2018, I started my journey from Kashmir, and I decided that I'll be walking the entire time from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So if you guys do this, this becomes an Indian map. And this is Kashmir, this is the northeast part, and this is Kanyakumari. So I walked from Kashmir to Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, then Rajasthan, then Gujarat, Maharashtra, then Andhra, and then I ended my journey in Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu. So in 2018, this journey was way more tougher than cycling the Himalayas, and that's why I decided this time to walk. One of my main motive was to explore every inch of the India. So in this whole journey, I decided to explore the Himalayas and Kashmir, the mega cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, the small villages in Rajasthan, the seaside villages in Konkan area of Maharashtra, and so on. And in this journey, my main motive was to talk about environmental awareness. For me, as a hardcore environmentalist, I believe that environment problem is going to be the biggest problem in the future, and we all have to work together on it. So with that in my mind, I walked for almost 6 months, and I walked 5,000 kilometers, and I gave more than 200 talks in different school, colleges, event clubs, etc. So after that journey, my interest shifted towards more social work. And just after 1 year, when the pandemic started in 2020, is where my life took a big turn. So I was in Jaisalmer on 18th of March 2020, just a day or two before the COVID lockdown started. And I was there for a project. But when I was experiencing and going around in the Jaisalmer fort, I saw a dozen of foreigners running around with their backpacks, and some of them were crying, some of them were running, and there was different environment because Jaisalmer is famous for tourists. And why are tourists running with their luggages like somebody's going to attack them? Then I figured out that the problem right now, just before the COVID lockdown, was that most of the people think that every foreigner has a COVID, and that was one of the main reason why majority of the uh, locals in Jaisalmer were very aggressive towards the foreigners. And this really moved me because I was really disheartened, because India is famous for its hospitality, and on the same way, these foreigners are uh, getting this aggressive behavior towards them by these locals. So I made up my mind, and I decided to take these dozens of foreigners in the train to Delhi on the same day, and that was 4 p.m. So I booked the train, and I took this 1 dozen foreigners to Delhi. And after calling hundreds of hotels and hostels in Delhi, they all rejected. Like, it was unbelievable. I was calling so many hotels and hostels, and they were saying, like, I was calling them and I'm like, "Hello, can I book your room for a week?" Then they were like, "Okay, sir, are you a foreigner or you're Indian?" And I'm like, "Does it make a difference?" So they were saying, "Yeah, sir, we are not allowed to book for foreigners." And I said, "Is it a rule by government?" And they said, "No, but it's just the local people are a little aggressive here also." And that made me realize that this problem is way bigger than I assume it was in Jaisalmer. So when I reached Delhi, and I met around 20, 30 more foreigners having the same problem. So that and there, I decided to start India's first helpline number for foreigners who are stranded in India during the COVID lockdown. And that the moment I put my phone number on my Instagram account, the post went viral and it has thousands of shares within the same day. And from that onwards, I was getting around 100 to 200 calls every day. Some calls were so horrible that I would like to share here to show you guys how bad the situation was. So one of the call I ever got from a village near Bangalore, and there was a couple from Australia. And when they called me, they were literally crying, and they said, "Shubham, we are in our hotel and we are locked ourselves in a hotel, and the they were looking out of the window, and there was a group of people with sticks to come and attack them just because they are foreigners and they think they have COVID." And I really had to use all my contacts in Bangalore and nearby. I have to send police, medical team, and the locals to help these couple to get safely out of that house, that hotel, because they were surrounded by a lot of people, and the things could have been very bad. And one of the second call I got was from Agra. There was a group of foreigners who went there to see Taj Mahal, and they were stuck in a hotel. And they said the hotel owners and everybody has ran away because they think they have COVID. And these guys have not eaten food for last 2 3 days. So I had they were really starving there. Like, I asked them, "What did you eat last meal?" I said they had it yesterday and it was water and some biscuits. So can be like situations like these were common all over the India. And in the span of 6 months, I helped more than 1,500 foreigners to. I rescued them. I gave them a space to stay, gave them food, and I helped them to go back to their countries with the help of their embassies, local police, government authorities, and lot of things. So that was my first project in COVID 2020. And when I went back to Uttarakhand by August, the moment I went to Uttarakhand, I met my mom. She's the principal of a government girls inter college in Ramnagar district, and she was little upset about what's happening in her college. So I asked her what happened. She said, COVID came and online classes are there, but because her school is for girls who are from below poverty line, these girls have never seen a smartphone. They don't even know what internet is. And there are many schools like that in Uttarakhand, and I'm damn sure in all over Uttarakhand and all over India, that these below poverty lines kids can't afford a smartphone and they not able to, get the education because everything was online, all the schools are shut. So that was the second biggest problem I experienced during the COVID time, and I decided to solve it. So the plan number one came is definitely to get smartphones for all these kids. But then when I researched, India also has one of the biggest problem of e-waste. So if I buy new phones, it will also be creating another problem, which is also what I have learned from design, that when you're solving a problem, you have to make it as effective as possible and as sustainable as possible. So in this problem, my plan was to start a campaign, which started just after a few days of the plan. And during that campaign, I requested everyone that if you have any smartphone in any condition in your home, just parcel it to me and I will repair that phone and fix it, and I will distribute it to these girls for their online education. And within a week, I got more than 30 to 40 smartphones from all over the India. And then I fixed it and we distributed these to the girls in Uttarakhand in GGIC, Salt Village, Devayan. And it also took me 1 week to teach these girls how to use the smartphone. And one of the experiences I got from that is, I remember I was teaching some girls how to open the front camera for the online classes, something like we're doing right now. And they literally blush by looking at the own face on the something on a phone because they have never experienced it. And they were really happy. And up till now, they're still using the same phone for online education and other things. So that was the project number two, and the second problem I faced and I tried to solve during the COVID. And the third one is during the second wave. I think we all remember the COVID second wave was like a huge disaster, and it was a way bigger problem than the COVID wave first. And also, I was in Uttarakhand, and in the second wave, Uttarakhand has one of the highest rate of death by COVID. And when I researched about it, what is happening, why so many deaths are happening in Uttarakhand, I got to know that there are hundreds of villages in Uttarakhand which are untouched by these medical services and all these NGOs. So immediately I made a volunteer group of friends, family member, and a lot of people in Uttarakhand. And I decided that I will be supporting as many villages as I can with the COVID medical supplies. So within next 1 month in span of April and May 2021, I helped and supported more than 250 villages in Uttarakhand, which are like very remote. Like there were many villages we have to send the medical supplies in horses because there was no road. And many places we have to divide the team in 10, 15 different groups because every village was around 50 to 100 kilometers from each other. So in this campaign, we helped and supported 250 villages with all the medical supplies and also disaster relief supplies like food, umbrellas, raincoat, because the problem in Uttarakhand that time was it was the highest death rate. And also the same time the monsoon was coming and there was a lot of landslides were there. So we were focusing on the COVID and also the natural disaster at the same time. So that was my third project in COVID. And all this work in the COVID time has changed me completely. If you guys have noticed, before the COVID, I was more into full-time traveling and tourism and adventures. But during this COVID time, I believe that I wanted to put my energy and my life towards a better world. And I want to focus more on the problems around us, especially in India and nearby countries. So I decided to sit down and start a project where I create an ecosystem of all these NGOs, all these organizations, and government facility to make a futuristic way of disaster management relief during a pandemic like COVID or a natural disaster like flood in Chennai or landslide in Uttarakhand or an earthquake. So right now I'm in Delhi and I've been registering this project in Delhi. And my future plan, which COVID and this pandemic has changed me to make this world a bit more perfect by creating an ecosystem and by making the disaster management more futuristic with tech driven. So that is my current project. And yeah, this is me, Shubham Dharmsktu, and thank you all for this platform.